Let's now create calculated fields and items. To some students, this is the hardest part of pivot tables. We'll create new columns and we'll create new rows. You can see that we're going to do a few things here, including adding quarterly commissions for the first, second, and third quarters, 10, 11, 12, and 12.5% respectively. We need to create a pivot table first, so insert a pivot table. I'm going to open this into a new sheet. Let's first place months on the rows and sales reps on the columns and the sum of sales for the values. And we'll change these to currency without any pennies. Here we see each of our sales reps and how much they've sold. But we would also like to figure out what was their average sale. To do that, let's go up to Pivot Table Tools, Analyze Calculations, Fields and Sets. You'll notice Calculated Item is grayed out right now. That's because we're not in the right place to be able to do that, but we'll come back to that later. Let's give this new field a name, maybe average per unit. And that is calculated sales divided by units sold. We've created the field. Let's say OK. You'll notice that this now shows up over here, average per unit, and we can make it available. It's already been put into here, and you can see it here as well. Let's change this name to something else, maybe per unit sales. Okay, and we have it now for each person. In January, Amy sold $23,040, but the average unit she sold was 96. Bob didn't sell as much, but he sold more expensive items. Next, let's add on their commissions. So this time I'm going to click over here in the month and then calculated item. Quarter one commission. And I'll come down here. We said it was 10%. I could do 0.1, or I can say 10% times, and then the first quarter of sales. So we have month. I'll put in January plus February plus March. You notice I can just double click on them, or I could go down and say insert item. And we've got the first quarter's commission. Let's do another one. Quarter two, and this time it's 11%, and I'll change the months to be, notice I click on month, it doesn't show the items. I click on it again and it comes up. April plus May plus June. Add item. Notice if I click on the drop down, you can see both of those are there. So now we want to go to the third quarter. That's 12%, and the third quarter months. July, August, and September. We'll add one more, and this is the fourth quarter, and it's 12.5%. Notice if I pull this down, we have all these previous commissions available that we could use as well in our calculations. In this case, we'll just pick up the fourth quarter sales. And we're done, so we can click OK. You can see we now have these 4 additional rows, giving us the commission for each individual, 10% of the first quarter, 11% second, and so forth. This may save a lot of work on the underlying table that you were using.